Can you teach a fish to climb a tree? Can you teach Republicans to rap? Can you teach a fish to climb a tree? Can you teach Cobra Commander to be a nice guy?
Cobra, attack!
You see, Albert Einstein once famously wrote, "Everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it is stupid." The question I have for you at this point of your journey together is, what is your genius?
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Thrive Nation, welcome back to another exciting edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast download. And on today's show, we are joined with the man, the myth, the legend, Dr. Breck. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Clay. How are you doing?
Man, I'm excited to have you on the show today. I'm excited about a great many things, and I'm excited to get into today's topic, which is, can you teach fish to climb trees? Elon Musk versus Tom Brady.
All right.
You versus everybody else. Let's talk about this real quick. There's a neat thing that was created back when I was in college called Napster, which allowed you to download files. Do you remember that, Dr. Rick?
Yes, absolutely.
So you could download files, and that was kind of a neat, nifty thing. It changed the music industry.
Right.
And then there was this thing that came out a little bit later called Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, Facebook, I don't like Facebook. I'm not into Facebook. I don't want to go on Facebook. I'm kind of like Bill Belichick as it relates to Facebook. But I think it's very important for you, the listener, to understand what Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, what they've done to you. And if it's a good thing, great. And if it's a bad thing, that's okay. I just want you to be aware of it. And let's have this conversation for a second. Facebook essentially allows you to be perpetually distracted in a great game called comparison and jealousy. So let's give an example. Let's say that my good friend Dr. Breck is on Facebook, and my good friend Jason's on Facebook. Now, Jason, you just got married, right?
I did.
And you got married. And what is your wife's name?
Her name is Alexis.
Alexis. And Alexis is a very kind person, beautiful lady, great lady, nice person. Okay, so you get married to Alexis, and your photos turned out great. Andrew took photos.
Andrew's the man.
Andrew used to work for us when I owned Epic Photos, and now Andrew decided to volunteer to take photos for you. And the photos turned out great.
Oh, they're so awesome.
They really did turn out great. You picked a great place. You got married at the Botanical Gardens,
Yeah.
which is a beautiful location. Can you kind of explain to the listeners what that location looks like?
It's like a massive park with a bunch of plants and flowers and fountains and flowing just streams and a giant pond, and the upkeep is, I don't know like what they pay the groundskeepers, but they should be paying them like a crap load because these guys do a great job. Like everything is just pristine.
It really is a wonderful facility, and this just in. It's nicer than most people's backyards.
Oh yeah.
So what happens is, though, is some people, not you, I'm sure there's just other people. I'm sure it's not our listeners, but some people then began to see your photos on Facebook of your wife and you, and they start to go, I wish my life was that good. Because it's like, because that's a great time in life to get married,
Yeah.
great photos. Or they start to say, I wish my wedding photos were that good.
Right.
I wish my photos would have turned out that good.
Mm-hmm.
I wish my life would be, or you got a guy like Dr. Breck here, okay? He's like an Adonis. He's like a fitness guru. He's a chiropractor. He's a great guy. And so Dr. Breck, he's on Facebook just doing his life, right? He's just doing his life, and maybe they post highlights of a birthday or a party or something positive. But then someone else goes, oh, God, I'm not as fit as him, and they feel bad. So then people go on Facebook, and they're like, well, before I post this photo of myself, I'm going to change the angle of the camera.
Right.
Because this angle, if I shoot up or even straight on, I look kind of fat. But if I shoot down, now I look kind of thin. So I want to just change it. Can we go ahead real quick, guys, before we take the photo? Can I just change it real quick? And then we have the little filters we get. There's little filters you do, and you change the filter because you want to remove any impurities, any type of thing that would make you look normal Anything that would make you look like a real person, because we don't want to look like a real person. We want to look like we're a super person because we don't want to be real. We want to be better than real. Right. And so what happens is we start to compare. Mm-hmm. So what are we talking about? What we're talking about is that you listening today have a gift. I believe that you weren't a mistake. I believe that you were born with a purpose, and you have a gift. And I don't know what the gift is, but I do know that you have a gift and a purpose, and you were born to do something well. And I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe you were born to be a chiropractor. Maybe you were born to be a great musician. Maybe you were born to be, I don't know, a drummer. Maybe you're born to be a great baker, a great mom, a great dad. Maybe you're born to be a great dentist. But if you were born to be a fish, and then I teach you how to climb a tree, if you attend my tree climbing school, and I'm trying to teach you, Mr. Fish, to climb a tree, you're not going to do well. And Jason, why would a fish not do well in my tree climbing school?
Well, it could be due to lack of arms or opposable thumbs. The fact that
you say opposable thumbs? Mm-hmm. Okay, continue.
He or she may be gasping for air as they're trying to do it, seeing as how they're outside of their element. Now, unless it's an underwater tree.
So I'm going to give the listeners some examples before we get into this idea, because I want you to figure out today, what is your gifting? What were you called to do? All right? The word vocation originally meant calling. That's what it meant in the original Latin, is calling. The word vocation means calling, all right? Vocation means calling. So I'm asking you, what are you into? What is the thing that you pursue? When you do, you like it? It's called the flow state. It's where you can lose track of time and space because you're so into it. So Jason, could you read the notable quotable from Mr. Albert Einstein, who, by the way, yes, he was a physicist. Yes, he did things where you're going, I don't really know how that applies. Like, what did he do? He was a physicist. I mean, how did that really impact our life? Yeah, I'm serious, because a lot of people think about that. Yeah, it was genius, but what did he do of practical value? Of practical value, he was the one who introduced to President Roosevelt the idea that the Nazis were developing a nuclear weapon. And he pointed out that, hey, if we don't get on it, we're going to die, because we hadn't started our program yet, and they were almost done. So we started the Manhattan Project. Albert Einstein recommended that we choose Robert Oppenheimer to lead the project. They began to make the nuclear weapon that we then dropped on the Japanese, thus ending World War II. We would all be speaking German right now, though, if Albert Einstein, who is Jewish, but he was born in Germany, did not save America. So he right there, Albert Einstein, in my opinion, is one of the founding fathers of modern freedom. We would not be free today if it weren't for Albert Einstein. So please read the notable quotable, Jason, from Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein says, everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. The question I have for you at this point of our journey together is, what is your genius?
Okay, so I want to get Dr. Breck's take on this, but I'm going to throw myself under the bus to explain to you in what areas of my life I am a fish trying to climb a tree. All right? I went to school, and at school I am semi-dyslexic, which means that I don't understand the words I'm reading on a page until I read it like the third time. Thus, it's hard for me. Also, I have very, very limited capacity to memorize things. So when I read something, I have to read it over and over and over and over and over. So a lot of school consists of this. All right, class, what I want you guys to do today is I want you to get your book, your history book, read pages 80 through 110, and I want you to memorize the states and the state capitals. Well, for me, that's like an impossible task. That, to me, is like asking a fish to climb a tree. But our modern school system is based on memorization. That's the system.
True.
Mm-hmm. So therefore, because that is the system is memorization, I can't participate in that conversation. I can't do well there. So therefore, in school, I thought I was an idiot. And then I realized fairly quickly, I'm not an idiot. I'm just a fish trying to climb a tree. But I tried for a long time to climb that tree, thinking I was an idiot. Mm-hmm. Another example, physical coordination. Don't have it. So I tried to live up to, my dad was a very good athlete. I tried to play sports, and I was okay at certain sports. I got to be pretty good at basketball, but I was never great. but I was trying to climb a tree and I was a fish. What I was born to do, what I'm good at is business is very easy to me. It's what I do. Thinking of logical conclusions of if you do this, this works. Like the scientific method towards business. If I do this, this works. To me, it's very easy to go, I wonder how everyone gets to the top of Google. I know what I'll do. I'll download all of the websites that come up top for the search Tulsa DJs that aren't mine, and then I'll look for common denominators. And that's what I did. And then I figured it out. I didn't know how to download, so I had to pay some actually OSU students who are interns to come and download the websites. And what's crazy is they were learning internet. They were at college learning how to code and learning technology, but they were about ready to graduate from OSU with a degree in some type of computer science, and they knew how to download websites, but they didn't know how to get them to the top of Google. Mm-hmm. And to me, I just thought if we download the ones that are top, eventually we'll find a common denominator. And that's how I learned about title tags and descriptions and keywords and content and all the things I learned about. So again, I am naturally born to be an internet marketing, search engine, hiring, business growth, accounting, marketing expert guy. Business is easy for me because I feel called to it. So Dr. Breck, do you feel called to be a chiropractor?
I do.
And how do you know this?
Oh, goodness. I was headed towards medical school while I was in college. Kind of the opposite of you. School came very easy to me.
There we go.
God gifted me with a great memory. So memorization was an easier thing for me.
So real quick, somebody needs to hear this. It doesn't mean that I have to resent you or vice versa.
No.
We need to understand our giftings and respect each other because of them and to not compare or to feel jealousy. Get off of social media and stop comparing. Dr. Breck is a very smart man, very good at memorizing, but you're all smart. We are all smart in our own way. So you were good at memorizing, good at school, so you thought I should go to medical school.
Right. So I was headed towards medical school and then realized I was disenfranchised with that whole idea. And then I discovered chiropractic for the first time. I hadn't experienced it as a patient, but I started looking into it further and further. Yep. And the deeper I got into it, the more I realized it aligned with my passion. And so it did very quickly become apparent to me that it was actually my calling. The philosophy of health, that the health comes from the inside out, that God has designed us to heal, that we're one with our world, and the nutrients that we bring into our body are important for its health and well-being. And so all of those aspects together just said, yes, this is you.
That is good. That right there, my friends, that right there, that is good. Now, let's say you're listening right now and you say, I don't know my calling. Well, I'm going to say this, and then Dr. Breck has a hot take here. I'm going to say this. You should spend your entire day. All day? Yeah. No. I know. Now, I know right now, according to Nielsen, and I want you to put it on the show notes, okay? Nielsen, the average person consumes 11 hours per day of media. Just do a Google search for 11 hours of media. Nielsen, you'll find it in Google and put a link on the show notes. But the average person, we don't have time. No, you, the average person, you have time, but the average person doesn't. The average person, now you listening right now, you have the time. The average person does not have the time to figure out what they're going to do with their life because they're on social media most of the day, 11 hours a day. They don't have to. No, they are busy right now.
Thankfully, when I was trying to figure this out, social media didn't exist.
So you sat down and thought about what you wanted to do?
I really made a very conscious effort to figure out what path I was going to take, and then very, very intentionally went down a certain direction. But I was going to say that I really felt that I could succeed in the school academic setting. And so I knew, when there was a test, what the measure was to success. However, once I graduated and I was in business, that's when I became a fish climbing a tree. So just the opposite of you, Clay. I was way out of my element trying to run a business. And so that's why I figured out I had to put other people around me like you to be able to make up for my shortcomings so that we could complement one another.
And the thing is, everybody out there in some area of our life, we are a fish trying to climb a tree.
True. Right.
Now, I'm going to cue up an audio for you. This is what I spent my entire day on yesterday. I spent over 12 hours yesterday on this. And the way I spend my Saturdays, just so the listeners know, is I get up around 3 usually, yesterday. We were up late on Friday. We had my kids went to a football game, and so we were up later. So Jason, you and I met at the office at what time? Like 4:45 or 5? Was it 5?
It's like 4:45, yeah.
4:45. So we met clients and did what we did, and then I got home around 9. I think I got home around 9:30. I think.
Yeah.
And then hung out with family and did some chores and bought my wife some flowers and went to the store and watched a movie with my wife and swam and had a great time. But then, when the kids are off doing their thing or they go visit their friends, there's kind of this pocket of time. So I had, about 12 hours I was working on. So it was like 5 hours, I guess, on Saturday and maybe 2 on Thursday night and then another 1 or 2 on Monday. But I've been working on this all week. I'm very excited about this. This is an audio. T.D. Jakes has a great sermon he just did called Grasping the Moment. T.D. Jakes, Grasping the Moment. All right? And it's about how if you are the one who feels called to do something, then you're going to run into opposition and people that don't agree with you and people that want to form committees and people. And he talks about how trying to seek consensus is the worst thing possible because nobody is going to agree with you, because if they already agreed with you, they would have already done it. And so it's a really good message. But I turned it into this. Let me cue it up real quick.
Power of one. Power of one. So I want you to understand that whenever God gets ready to do anything, he does it with the power of one. Does it with the power of one. I want to talk about the power of one because you are one. And everything starts not with a board, not with a committee, not with a vote. Everything starts with one. The power of change begins with one. Whether it is one Nelson Mandela or whether it is one woman who decides to sit down on a bus, or whether it is one person that decides we should be able to fly, or whether it is one person that invents a telephone, it starts with one. You have to decide, first of all, this morning, if you're going to be the one. Or are you going to be the person who's always waiting on someone? Whenever the enemy knows that the one is coming, he always sets traps to stop them from succeeding because they're the one. Whenever the enemy knows that the one is coming, he always sets traps to stop them from succeeding because they're the one. Always on the hit list because they're the one. I want to talk to some people that have been up under crazy attack. Attack that blindsided you. Attack that came out of nowhere. Attack on another level that doesn't even line up with your situation. I want you to understand what the enemy understands about you is that you are the one. And to him whom much is given, much is required. And so the text starts out talking about Abraham because Abraham is the one. And Abraham had to move out from his country and away from his kindred because he was the one. So he was a misfit because he was the one. So he had to live in isolation and separation because he was the one. So he probably was lonely because he was the one. And it took a long time for it to materialize his significance because he was the one. And so he was traveling nomadically as a misfit from place to place, never fitting in with any group. No group would take him because he was the one. And so I'm talking to some people who have always been a little isolated, never been accepted, never been a part of the crowd. It always happens because you are. I'm the one. You're probably not gonna like me because I'm the one. I'm a little strange. I'm the one. I don't fit in. I don't say yes when I mean no. I don't roll over without a fight because I am the one. I understand that I am the one. I am willing to be controversial because I am the one. I don't roll over without a fight because I am the one. So you'll stop begging for people to come into agreement with you. So you'll start doing polls and census and trying to get everybody to come into consensus with your vision. You won't need nobody to say amen when you preach because you already know that you got heaven saying amen. You already know that you got heaven saying amen. Power one. I know what it is to work 40 hours a week and put my whole check in the church to keep it going. I know what it is to have my lights off and my water off and my gas off. And I thought to myself, if you ever get up on your feet, if you ever stand straight up with all your utilities on at the same time, if you ever get where you can go to the grocery store without a calculator, if you ever get to the point that you ain't got a pocket full of coupons. Self, all your troubles will be over. All your troubles will be over. Well, let me tell you something. That's wrong. Because you just go to fighting from this level to fighting on that level. The fight will always continue. Big church, little church, lots of money, no money, big crowd, no crowd. There's always something that fights you back. There's always something that fights you back. Because strength is developed through resistance. Strength is developed through resistance. Stop crying about what you're going through. If it ain't this, it's gonna be that. So I use the strength from the struggle I had against the struggle I have right now. That's why the Bible said it was good for me that I was afflicted. That's why the devil can't chase me out of town because of no fight. I cut my teeth on a fight. You just gotta make up your mind that fighting is normal. You just gotta make up your mind that fighting is normal. This is your moment. Let me tell you how I always know I'm about to have a moment. Whenever I'm about to have a moment, I always have an attack. Some kind of struggle breaks out in my life. Can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? You have to change what you value. You have to change what you value, which means you gotta have something that we are not good at. Delayed gratification. Hungry, you ain't gonna die. Hunger is temporary discomfort. We are wrestling between temporary discomfort and long-term benefit. Never make a permanent decision over a temporary condition. The reason this message is important is because you're right on the cusp of something, and your values are gonna make a difference. Because your values are gonna determine your choices. And if you value the right thing, you will suffer for it. You will wait for it. You will endure for it. You will sacrifice for it. You will know that the long-term benefit outweighs the immediate gratification.
So what kind of sick person would spend their entire day by themselves editing together a sermon that's an hour and a half long and turning it into like a 6-minute highlight reel and then set it to music? I don't know. That's what that's what I do. I'm a fish. And somebody else might go, why? People ask me this all the time at conferences. How long did that take you? Why would you do that? Well, the thing is, I'm a slow learner. But I have found if I listen to the same sermon 12 times, I'm starting to get the idea. I'm starting to feel like Brother T.D. Jakes was teaching us that when you're the one, like Abraham, your family is not going to like you if you are the change agent. If you are the irritant that causes the oyster to make the pearl, people are not going to like you. If you are the pressure that causes the coal to become the diamond, people will not like you.
Right.
So I've started to realize, okay, this is why so many people dislike me, but yet I benefit so many people. So last year, my wife and I were just sitting down doing the math, and it looks like we've helped our clients create over $1 billion of growth last year. $1 billion.
That's awesome.
So that's cool, but man, I've irritated their competitors.
Right.
Because the competitors are like,
Sure.
well, you're taking our business away from us. Or my principle that I'll only work with one type of business in every city, that irritates people. The rule that I'll fire people who don't do their jobs, that irritates
you.
people. And so the idea that, like, if you work for me and I ask you to write content, and if you don't, I'm going to fire you, accountability, these ideas, they're irritants. So I realize if I am the one, I cannot run it by my team. I cannot ask them for a census or a survey or see if it's okay, because I have to be the one. And then if you have a value or something that you really believe in, you're going to struggle for it. So because I will not work with companies in the adult industry or the casinos or companies that benefit off of liquor sales, whatever, it causes people to get mad at me when I tell somebody I'm not going to work with your vaping shop or it bothers people.
Right.
And so what happens is that I had to learn this idea, and T.D. Jakes was his fish. He's a fish, and his ocean is illuminating the word. he takes a text that is very much a living text, but it's the text that was, as Christians, we believe that it was inspired by God, divinely inspired text. He takes text, which frankly I think is boring, and he makes it relevant, and he illuminates the text. But Breck, I mean, have you ever, when you read the Bible, is it exciting to you when you read the words? Are you going,
Some
woo?
parts. Sometimes.
Sometimes? So
Yeah,
give me
some
give me
parts,
some
sometimes.
parts that are exciting. What, you like James? You like Proverbs? You like, what do you like?
Yeah, so I like story. And so, there's a lot of story in the Bible.
Yep.
And so different characters, different personalities, because I believe there are real people.
Okay.
So I'd rather not call them characters, but people in the Bible that their story is told
So it's
about
fun.
them.
It's fun for you to
So
read the
it's,
Bible.
yeah, I enjoy reading the stories about them. But there's also parts of the Bible, Leviticus, Numbers, where it's very mundane. It's very boring. It's just kind of a chronological history of, who was whose father, who was whom's father.
Yep.
And those kinds of things. And so, yeah, that's not necessarily a lot of fun. But you read about things that I think are almost written for script for like a movie scene, and I wish Hollywood would grab a hold of it. But
I do too.
You think of like a Samson. There's been a couple of movies that have been made about Samson, and it's like, man, you guys have just missed the mark. But then you've got David. There's also been a movie. I think Richard Gere actually was the star of the movie that was about David's life, and he's just a phenomenal person in that. I mean, he's full of turmoil and he's full of some controversy and some hypocrisy within himself, but he wrestles with it and he tries to follow God, but yet he has this nature about him that wants to do his own thing as well. He's a hero and a champion in one moment, and then he falls away and does something totally inappropriate and wrong on another. He's actually like a hero for the nation, but then he becomes a murderer and an adulterer.
And I think everybody out there, okay? Some of you are going to say, I love reading the Bible. It's fun. Some of you are going to say it's hard to read the Bible. But we can all agree that T.D. Jakes, his ability to illuminate and to bring context to the Bible is incredible. Now, Jason, before you worked here, here's kind of a quiz show. Before you came to work, you've been working here now for how many years?
All in all, almost 3.
3. Okay, so I'm going to read these names to you, and you tell me if you knew these names before working with me.
Okay.
Were you familiar with Lee Cockrell?
I was not.
Okay, Lee Cockrell, the former executive vice president of Walt Disney World Resorts, who once managed at the same time 40,000 people. What about Napoleon Hill?
Knew of him, never read anything.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Andrew Carnegie?
That one again was another name that was like, big, but I knew nothing personally.
Bill Campbell. What about Bill Campbell? Did you know about Bill Campbell?
No, and I'm actually better now that you've introduced me to Bill Campbell.
Can you explain to listeners who Bill Campbell is?
The super coach, the coach of some of the most successful people in the world.
The business coach for Steve Jobs. Of Apple, for the founders of Google, Eric Schmidt, the CEO, Larry and Sergey.
Bezos.
Jeff Bezos, Facebook, unbelievable business coach. Bill Campbell, look him up. Were you familiar? I'm just going to read off a few more names here. Were you familiar with, again, these are just Daniel Goleman?
I was not.
Okay, Daniel Goleman is the guy that we wrote the book, Emotional Intelligence. What about David Bach, the guy who wrote The Automatic Millionaire?
No. That was a new one, too.
What about, let's go with Jim Rohn, the best-selling author, speaker?
Nope.
No. What about Chet Holmes, the author of The Ultimate Sales Machine?
I was not.
You have a bug right there?
Yeah, I got him.
It's a bug demon.
He's fine.
What about Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Did you know what he did?
I knew he was the guy from Tesla.
Okay. But did you know much beyond that? Did you know about his 80-hour work week worldview?
No, or PayPal or Solar City. Nope. I just thought he was the crazy man who made the electric cars.
Did you know a lot about Proverbs 10:4, that God blesses the diligent and punishes the hands of the slackard?
I did not.
See, and this is what I'm saying, is working here for me, I am a fish, my water, my ocean is growing companies.
Right.
But if you're out there today and your ocean is adjusting the human spine, you're a chiropractor or you're a dentist or you're a lawyer or whatever the crap you are, it doesn't mean that you're an idiot. It just means we all have a gifting in one area, and we've got to find what that is. We got to find it. You have it, but you got to get off of Facebook for just like an hour and then maybe 10 more today. But just get off of there all day and think about your life and ask yourself, where are you right now, versus where do you want to go? You have to ask yourself this thing. If you don't ask yourself where you are versus where you want to be, what's going to happen by default, Jason? What's going to happen? What is going to happen if you do not ask yourself where you are now versus where you want to be?
Well, you're going to end up getting stuck, and you're going to go through the same motions day in and day out, wondering, how come I don't have the things? Or you're going to be that guy who's looking at Breck's photos on Facebook saying, I don't have that. How come I don't have that?
How come I don't have a pool? How come I don't have a business? How come I don't have a great family? Because you've got to stop jealousy and comparison. We've got to start figuring out what our ocean is. It's so important.
Right.
Yeah.
I've known what I was supposed to do since I was 16, so I've had a head start here. I've known that I was called to make copious amounts of money growing businesses. That's what I do. But you, Mr. Listener, Mrs. Listener, we have to figure that out. Now, Abraham Maslow, those of you who went to college might have studied Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He's the first guy really to get into positive psychology. Now, there's psychology. You've had Freud, and he's talking about the Oedipus complex and the Electra complex, and it's weird.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Abraham Maslow. He was teaching about what makes people successful. What is it? And so, Jason, would you read the notable quotable from Abraham Maslow?
Oh, yeah. All the evidence that we have indicates that it is reasonable to assume in practically every human being, and certainly in almost every newborn baby, that there is an active will towards health, an impulse towards growth, or towards the actualization.
Okay, read it again, please.
All the evidence that we have indicates that it is reasonable to assume in practically every human being, and certainly in almost every newborn baby, that there is an active will toward health, an impulse towards growth, or towards the actualization.
What he's saying is that everybody is called to have success in some area. That's what you want to do. But if you don't, you get depressed, and that's what it's called a casino. So a casino is you go there because you're seeking some success and you can't find it yet. And so you go there and you go ding 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 ding, and all of a sudden that ding 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 that replaces that winning. So for me, I hear winning, ding 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 ding. That's what I hear. So whenever I have a successful day, I get something done, I make money, I sell something, I grow something, I build something, I go ding 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 ding. I get that little rush of energy, that little woo. I get that from winning. I don't get that from ding 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 ding. But people who don't have any winning because they don't know their ocean yet, they haven't figured out where they're supposed to be swimming, they then go to the casino and ding 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 ding. And have you ever seen this, Breck? Have you seen this?
Oh, absolutely. But then also, going back to Facebook, I mean, there's been a ton of money dropped into the psychology of the little dot with the red dot that tells you how many messages or how many notifications,
likes.
and then how many likes. And that's, for a lot of people, that's their only ding 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 is, hey, I got 200 likes. And
so the other day we made a video called Wake Up. And Wake Up was what this video we put out there. And the reason why we put it out there is that I've interviewed a lot of super successful people.
Right.
And when I've interviewed billionaires and millionaires, I've asked them, what does your daily routine look like? This is the video. I'm going to cue it up real quick here.
We'll do this.
In this video here, it has 581 views, right? And it's a compilation of me interviewing, I think it's like 25 people or so. And I'm asking everybody from Craig Rochelle to Wolfgang Puck, what time do you wake up? What does your routine look like? And they all basically are saying, hey, I wake up previous to 6 in the morning, 6:30, and I have a routine I do every day, and I don't deviate from it. That's the thing. So I'm gonna hit play real quick.
And I know that most successful people do this. I hope that you can be inspired by what I do.
And I need you to understand that the bigger your dream is, the earlier you're gonna have to get up.
That's Eric Thomas right there, one of our guests. This is Melissa Hartwig.
I am quite famous in my community, at least for my commitment to my morning routine.
The founder of Whole30, the best-selling book and program.
I do not deviate. I do not deviate. I do not deviate.
Sounds like she doesn't deviate
from it for any reason. Even when I travel, even when I'm on vacation, the morning routine is preserved. And I figured this out a long time ago, realizing that as an entrepreneur working for myself, if I didn't start the day off the way that I intended it, my day was just going to run me over. I wake up in the morning around 6:30 without an alarm.
Get up right, 5.
Jay Papasan, the best-selling co-author of Gary Keller, the book One Thing.
5:10 most days, my wife and I, we work out, we eat a healthy breakfast.
And anyway, this video's never probably going to have 1 million views. And I'll explain to you why. It's because I'm teaching you how to be successful, and people don't want to be successful. You do because you're one of our listeners, and I get you. But most people, they just want to go on Facebook and like and comment on things and ding, 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 ding. Now, if I wanted to make a video about sex, drugs, or ice cream, kittens, I could get 1 million views. All I need to do is make a video about sex, drugs, ice cream, or babies. I mean, if I made a video about cute babies.
It's very confusing if all those are in one thing. I don't know what to do.
Right. No, but I'm serious. If you like, I'm going to do a search real quick for cute babies on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And there's videos, 36 million views right now of babies laughing. So what?
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, are you hungry? Hey, are you hungry?
36 million views, folks.
You do it.
You got it.
I almost have to club myself in the crotch to stay awake while watching this video. I would never want to watch this video.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't get how you can have 3 million views, and I might just be a weirdo, but I don't want to watch somebody else's kid laugh.
Because the average person is spending 11 hours per day consuming media. Let me type in cute kittens. This one has 15 million views of this video with kittens.
Nice music.
That's all people want to do is spend their day.
You've watched, the YouTube, the Facebook app for, however many hours,
Right.
5 hours, and you've just gone down. It's like taking a depressant over and over and over. And then you got to have a video that's laughter or kittens so that you can how to get yourself back up.
And I'm not depressed. I'm not depressed that I have 580 views and I'm at 500, as I don't care. I'm not I'm just throwing it out there. If I make a post on Facebook, which, by the way, for the listeners out there who listen to our show, it's heavily contrived. So all of my Facebook, all of my social media is very intentional. Somebody who is not me is posting, and we sit down on Mondays and agree on what's going to go out, and I hate it. But it has to go out. So we posted a Bill Belichick video that it's a great interview, but I just hate the medium of social media because it's such a distraction for people. It's a distraction that keeps you away from taking the actions that you need to take. It's a distraction. It keeps you from taking the action you need to take. It's a distraction. And so, but I'm not going to compare and feel bad. All right, but let's get into this self-actualization. I want to explain Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You're at the very base. There's a pyramid, okay, and the pyramid is broken up into these 5 levels. Okay, so level 1 of the pyramid is psychological needs. Basically, Maslow points out we all have a need for food, water, warmth, and rest. All right, food, water, warmth, and rest. I'm not sure if people are aware of this in like communist China, which I'm not a fan of at all. In communist China, essentially, if you don't work, you don't eat, which I do like that feature. So in America, though, we've created this thing called Los Angeles, where you
I thought you were going to say welfare.
Have you look up on your computer real quick. Look up the Los Angeles tent community real quick. I just want you to see this.
Yeah.
I just heard about this on Rogan's podcast.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I just talked to Michael Levine about this. He lives in L.A. and was explaining this to me.
Encouraging it now.
But and there's in this area of L.A. there is I don't know, thousands and thousands of people that now choose to live a homeless lifestyle out there in L.A. And it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And our country somehow believes that if you're lazy, that you deserve food, water, warmth, and rest. And so
there's a part of me that can kind of get behind this idea. That is that, if you're here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I'll help get you a bus ticket and you can go live in LA where the weather's great.
I agree with that idea. Now,
so I can get behind that aspect of the idea.
Jason, look up what percentage of our federal budget goes to welfare, please. Look that up, please.
I will say this tent community is nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, this is what happens when you tell people we're still going to give you food and still going to give you water and shelter if you don't want to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So Clay Clark will keep working very hard today, and he's going to work the first half of his day for you. Remember, if you're an entrepreneur out there, it's called a graduated tax system, and the more you make, the more they take. A lot of my clients discover how taxes work on the first year I work with them, because I'll have an entrepreneur that comes in who has a goal to make $200,000 a year.
Right.
And I explain to them, then you'll need to earn $400,000. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, because you're going to pay about half of your income in taxes. And they go, no, that's not true. Texas doesn't have a state income tax. And I go, okay, well, the federal income tax is what it is. And then you buy a car and you have to pay a tag, aka tax. You buy a house, you have to pay real estate property tax. You buy a dinner, you have to pay tax. You go to the grocery store, you pay tax. You buy clothes, you pay a tax. You look at your cell phone bill and see what percentage of your bill is tax, and you realize that you're going to spend about half your income on taxes. Jason, did you find a hard statistic from a credible source that shows the percentage of the American federal budget that goes towards welfare? Have you found something?
Well, it looks like from the Peter G. Peterson Foundation.
Okay.
They have a full report from the fiscal year of 2016.
Okay.
Said recently it was the most complete set of data available from SNAP. SNAP assisted approximately 44 million beneficiaries.
I want to know a percentage of the federal budget that we spend on taxes.
It costs $71 billion, or 2% of the overall federal budget.
So 2% goes to welfare, okay?
But in 2012, it was $235 billion that was spent. That was 12% of the overall federal budget.
I don't believe these statistics. I want you to look up this real quick. Just look up the percentage. I don't like that website. Look up the percentage of Americans that don't pay income tax. Gotcha. Let's do that. That's probably the best way to look this up. Okay, and find me a credible source. If you quote me NerdWallet or something, I don't want it. I want to quote I want to quote Fox. I want to quote CNN. I want to quote USA Today. Give me something. What percentage of Americans do not pay taxes?
Okay, so Morgan Freeman says,
"Get out of here! You stop it." Did you find it something over there?
I am scrolling through.
Nothing's more terrifying than having to look up statistics on here, but it's what percentage of Americans do not pay income taxes. You will find it. We'll come back to this.
Oh, yeah.
Did you find it?
No, I'm trying
okay,
to
you
find
keep
more
looking.
credible.
So we're moving our way up. So these psychological needs. Then you have safety needs. We all want to feel security and safety.
Right.
Then we want to feel the next level is belongingness, love and needs. We want to have like an intimate connection, friends. By the way, if you have a friendship, it requires what for the friendship to work? It requires having values. You share values, and you share time. You share values and starts with a time. So if you have 1,000 Facebook friends, are they really your friends? I mean, can you spend time with 1,000 people? I have found this to be true. He who finds a friend finds a good thing. And most people have a hard time having more than 6 friends, myself included. Why? Because it requires spending time. So you got to get off this thing of like, oh man, look at that. I bet you.
And that's true of all relationships.
Right.
You know, I mean, you were talking about buying your wife flowers. You know, you've got to be intentional with your time, with your children, with your wife, with your business, with your friends. Whatever relationship you want to have be positive and continue to progress, you have to spend time.
I'm gonna Jason, there's a link. You can look this up real quick. If you'll type in more than 44% of Americans pay no federal income tax.
Yeah,
more than 44.
I just found that from the Tax Policy Center.
Yes, and this is, you can find the link right now on marketwatch.com or the Tax Policy Center. You can find it. You can also find it in Forbes. I want to put a link to the Forbes article. All right. Yeah. The Forbes article.
Actually better than I thought. I thought it was just over 50%. So
well, let me
45 is an improvement from what I thought.
Well, let me read Forbes. It says new estimates of how many households pay no federal income taxes. This is Forbes. Shows right now, says the Tax Policy Center has updated its estimate of the percentage of households that will pay no federal income tax this year. Now, this article came out in 2015, right? And at that point, we now figure it is 45.3, nearly 5 percentage points higher than just 2013. So I want to make sure we get this. This article, and I want to put a link to it, says new estimates, Jason, it's called New Estimates of How Many Households Pay No Federal Income Tax. Did you find that there on Forbes? You will find it. And if you, I'll put a link here for you. That's 45.3% of people pay zero taxes. That was in 2015.
Right.
It went up 5% from 2013.
Right.
I'm just telling you right now, according to all of the estimates I have read, everything I've listened to, all that I've consumed, it went up again. But
well,
as
it
of
looked
this,
like there was an article that Jason was just about to click on that looks like it may actually, there's another Forbes article that says 47%.
Yes, so I want to put a link to those articles. It's going up.
Right.
So I'm just pointing out this for you. This is the kind of BS. That's why I was attacking your stat earlier. I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying is if you pay no taxes, who's paying your taxes? We are.
We are.
So don't give me that crap that only 4% of our budget or 2% of our budget goes to welfare. Half of the people pay no taxes.
Right.
So who's paying for their roads? Who's paying for their college? Who's paying for their military? Who's paying for their security? You are. Why? Because you have a job. Why am I going off on this? I'm going off on this because every single person needs to find their ocean. You need to find the ocean where you can be a fish, and then you need to contribute value to society, and then you pay a percentage of your income in taxes. But if you want to be a hipster running around recycling your clothes, living in Los Angeles, you are a maggot on our society. You are a maggot. You are a soul-sucking maggot. You are a parasite. You are a parasitic. You are sucking the lifeblood of our country. You got to find the ocean where you can be a fish, and then you must work because you need to contribute into your thing, okay?
Be a contributor.
Be a contributor, right? Now, the next area is belongingness of love. Again, we talk about relationships. Now, you move up esteem, prestige, and the feeling of accomplishment. So layer 1, the first area of the pyramid is psychological needs. The second level, level 2, is safety. 3 is belongingness. Now, you have to earn your way up this. You're not just given this. You have to work your way up this. Esteem needs, prestige, and a feeling of accomplishment. You don't get that feeling. You can't shortchange your way to the feeling. No. I have a way to shortchange it. I know how we can get that fake. I have a way. Let's make cat videos and put them on YouTube and run around talking about how we have 45 million views.
Right.
And you get a little hit because you went viral. Now, let me explain to you how you make money off of YouTube. This is a true thing. All right. For every 1 million views, YouTube will pay you $2,000 right now.
Okay.
So if you made a video with 1 million views, you got $2,000. So if you had 10 million views, you got $20,000. So if you want to spend your day making cat videos,
right,
you can do that and actually make money. But you have to make videos about things that people want to look at. And I'm going to repeat the categories. These are little tips for you to be viral on YouTube. 1, people love sex. Oh, they love sex. People love controversies. They love scandals. Oh, you got to have a scandal. Controversy. People love celebrities. They love Bieber. Bieber's doing this. Bieber's doing that. Kanye's doing this. Kanye's doing that. They love celebrities. They love controversy. They love sex. People love watching other people fail. People love to know the pastor that got exposed for this or the celebrity who's falling. People love to see people lose. People love to see about the new person's addiction. People love gossip and rumors. They just love it. They love cat videos. Oh, they love puppies, cats. Now, if you want to put a video up there like, how to, achieve success, no one's going to watch that. Because some people don't want to have success. And if you want to talk about gaming the system and the secrets the government doesn't want you to know about getting federal loans, people love that kind of stuff. People love Illuminati. People love inside 9/11, inside job stories. People love controversy. But people don't be posting things of practical value because people aren't really into that right now. Now, esteem needs. Now, the next level is self-actualization. Achieving one's full potential. This is where you are doing what you were called to do. You are a fish and you're in the ocean. Now you feel good. When you're in there helping your patients get aligned and get into proper health, do you like it?
I love it.
Do you feel like you're like in flow state where you kind of lose track of space and time? Like you could
Definitely.
do it all day,
I could
every
do
day.
it all day. And the thing is, people ask me if I ever have a bad day. And I'm like, no, I'm helping people all day long. But then I even, I'll go home having worked really hard physically, throughout the day, mentally, emotionally, just giving. And yet, your battery's still full.
It's like an endless reservoir an endless resource of energy.
Yeah. I mean, I still go to bed tired. I mean, when my head hits the pillow, I go to sleep. But I feel good.
You love it.
I sleep
That's
well
what you
at
love
night.
to do.
I do.
See, this is what's crazy. So crazy. People say to me all the time, it happened just yesterday. A guy says, dude, you got up at 3:30 yesterday? I said, no, yesterday I got I got up at 5. Why? Because we were up late with the football thing. Right. I got up at 5.
Thank you for
got
your
to
honesty.
the office at 5:45, right? But most days, 3 o'clock. So you get up at 3, and they're like, how do you do that and not get tired? I'm like, well, 1, I'm in my flow state, baby. I'm doing what I was called to do.
Right.
I love it. Now you say, well, Clay, are there ever times in your business coaching career where you don't love it? Oh, yeah. Let me tell you when. I don't like lazy people. I don't understand them. I don't want to understand them. I don't empathize with them. I don't deal well with people that are like, I just don't feel motivated. I don't know what that's like. So, Jason, what tends to happen if you work at Elephant in the Room and you find it hard to stay motivated? You find it hard to get to your work by 10 a.m. or whatever your shift is. What tends to happen?
Well, I haven't done that personally, but I've seen it happen. The person who finds it hard to get to work eventually starts to show up later and later, or they miss meetings, or when they're there, they're also actively just not engaged whatsoever.
And should I keep them around as some sort of life project and try to fix them at the expense of our customers?
Some would, but we don't, because it's not good.
And so my customers who love to exchange their hard-earned money for goods and services that are good appreciate me for firing idiots and for pulling the weeds.
True.
And you might say, well, don't you feel bad? No. Why? Because it's my flow state. I believe I was called to fire idiots. That's what I'm good at.
Right.
Think about this as an example. Kobe Bryant, the famous NBA player turned now venture capitalist, he said, I can't relate to lazy people. We don't speak the same language. I don't understand you. I don't want to understand you. So as an example, this is interesting. We had a member of our family who offered to pay for me to go to Europe as a gift. And I appreciate the gesture, but I don't want to go to Europe. So I said, I don't want to go to Europe. And they're like, we don't want to go to Europe, but I'm going to pay for it. You can go. Nope. Why? I'd rather coach my clients, do what I do, rather record a 12-hour show about breaking down a 1.5-hour TD Jakes sermon into 12 minutes or 6 minutes. I'd rather do the same thing every day. Rather go to Atwoods. Why? It's my flow state. I'm serious.
Right.
But people struggle to once you find your flow state, you're not going to want to retreat from it. The word vacation means like retreat, right? Retreat from something. When you have a vocation, you find your calling. You know, every day every day it's going to feel like a celebration when you love your occupation. So let's look at Tom Brady for a second. Now, would you argue that Jason, objectively, he's done well?
Very.
I have some Tom Brady stats here real quick. Can you read some Tom Brady statistics real quick, please?
Oh, yeah. So Tom Brady, 14 Pro Bowls.
Okay. That's like the all-star team. You know?
Yeah. 3-time All-Pro.
Which means you're like the best. Okay.
6 Super Bowl championships.
Okay.
He is an astounding 6'4".
Yep.
He weighs 225 pounds. That's heavier than I thought, but then again, he's tall.
Yep. And then
his net worth is $580 million.
That's what he's worth.
And climbing.
So he's worth $580 million. Now, let's compare for a second. Let's go on Facebook. Let's just kind of compare. Let's almost kind of get into this comparison jealousy thing. Let's talk about Elon Musk.
The musky one.
How much? Let's read off some stats for Elon Musk.
Well, he's the founding member of PayPal.
Does he have any Pro Bowls?
No.
Okay, keep going.
He's the founding member of Solar City.
Was he an All-Pro at anything?
At business. No title, though.
He didn't make any NFL All-Pro?
No.
Okay,
NFL
keep going,
All-Pro.
please.
He's the CEO of Tesla.
How many Super Bowl championships does he have?
I believe it's 0.
Okay.
He stands at a not as astounding 6'2".
He's not 6'4"?
He's not.
Why?
Genetics.
Okay. How much does he weigh?
186 pounds.
How much does Brady weigh?
225.
What's Elon's net worth?
Well, that is $20.2 billion.
I feel like, based upon the jealousy and comparison game, one could argue that Elon Musk is a pathetic loser. I mean, think about it. He's not 225.
Nope.
He's not 6'4". He hasn't won any Super Bowls.
True.
Right.
Now, you could flip it and go, Tom Brady, based upon the judgment and comparison thing, he's a pathetic loser too, because he hasn't. How many?
He doesn't own 4 companies, and he doesn't.
He's not worth $20 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, so here's the problem: if you don't know what you want, it's never good enough.
Right.
Because Tom Brady is great, the greatest of all time at what he does, but he's nothing. Nothing. He's not worth anything at all in the tech world. Oh, what a loser, right? Now, you think about Elon Musk. He's great. He's great. But Elon Musk, he's 186.
Yep.
And he doesn't look sometimes like a lean 186. Well, why? You understand Tom Brady looks lean, but he's 225. That dude is just straight muscle.
Yeah.
He looks like a swimmer is how he looks. So
He does kind of look like.
He's very, very physically strong, but he's very, very lean. So he doesn't look like he weighs. I mean, look up Tom Brady 2019. Look at his face. Look at him. This guy, what in the world? Look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady 2019. This guy is he's a beautiful man. Look at his face. Look at his face. Look at the beauty. Look at his face. Now I want you to look
There's
at
a lot
Tom.
of serious pictures on.
Now look at Tom Brady 2019 versus his rookie year. Look at his face. Look at him now versus then. Look at his face. So Tom Brady now versus then. Okay, now versus then. Tom Brady now versus then. Look for it on Google Images. Look at him right here. You see that on Pinterest? You see that? Tom Brady, if you just type into Google, Tom Brady now versus then. And then click on images. You'll see at the top left. You'll see the image. Click on that, please. Look at Tom Brady now versus then. Do you see that picture? Did you find it in Google Images?
Yep.
Okay. Look at that.
That's a different person.
Yeah.
Do you see that? Now, I want you to put a link to that on the show notes so people can see it. And if you had to guess, not knowing Tom Brady, which one does he look younger in?
Well, actually, he looks younger in the now.
I know.
He's a professional. So now, now he's got the chef and he's got the routine and he's doing it well.
This is what I'm saying.
He's improving as he gets older.
And this is what I am saying to you.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I am saying to the listeners, is Tom Brady has found his flow state. He's found his ocean where he can swim. So when Tom Brady's doing an interview, this is what people don't understand.
He's the oldest quarterback to win a Super Bowl, correct?
Correctamundo.
Yeah.
If you listen to this show with any regularity at all, or you listen to any interviews with Tom Brady, you will understand this idea. Tom Brady was interviewed recently. Asked him, how long do you plan on playing? And he says, I'm paraphrasing, but he says, I have no hobbies or no interests outside of football, really, other than my family. So I for sure will play until I'm 45, but I'll play as long as I can. Mm-hmm. I predict that he'll play till he's 45, yes, but I believe he'll try to play maybe till he's 50.
You think?
Yeah, which he can do because of the way he plays.
Right.
There are Tom Brady rules, and if you watch Tom Brady play, there are certain rules he does. One is he tries to release the football within 3 seconds.
Right.
So when he gets the ball, he's counting in his head, 1001, 1002, throw. So you can't really – he's almost like his own offensive lineman because you can't tackle him if he doesn't have the ball.
Right.
And the way the current rules work in the league, you can't hit the quarterback if he doesn't have the ball. Right. Or you can be suspended, fined, etc. Back in the day, you could hit a guy late. Now you can't. So with the current rules and his current regimen, it is likely he can play till he's 50. So you might say, what? Yeah, and Tom Brady almost every year takes a pay cut so that the team can afford better offensive linemen because that allows him to win. Other quarterbacks don't seem to have this figured out. So Tom Brady, look up Tom Brady, how high he gets paid versus other quarterbacks. So Tom Brady's salary versus other quarterbacks, and you can find where he pays himself because he can command whatever he wants.
Sure.
But he chooses to make less money over the...
He's a team player.
Right, because T.D. Jakes spoke about this. He has a long-term perspective.
Right.
He values winning, so he's struggling for it. Financially, he's struggling. He's only making... He could be making twice as much.
Yeah, far more.
I know it's kind of a joke, but seriously, he could make... Do you understand his career? He's turned down almost $100 million of earnings so far.
That's crazy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because every single year, homeboy takes a pay cut so he can afford an offensive line because he values winning a championship over making the most money. So if you look up Tom Brady's salary versus other quarterbacks, you'll find him. So again, think about this for a second, Breck. I want to get your take on this.
Sure.
Tom Brady or Elon Musk, in your mind, who's more successful, or are they both successful in your mind?
They're both successful. But again, it's, being in their correct ocean, their own water space. And so, it's just ridiculous to compare them. And I hate the comparison game. I have a Facebook account. I don't get on it very much at all. But I believe that about 10% of it is positive and beneficial. You can stay in contact with people.
There
you
we
can
go.
share photos with the grandparents about the kids.
And I would say about 10% of sex is positive. I would say, as a general rule, I mean this, I'm not just joking, I mean this, I think that the average person, sex was meant to be a good thing. It talks about it in the Bible.
Right.
However, for a lot of people, sex and lust and constantly chasing women around is a thing they can't overcome.
Right.
Now, this is what I want to share with the listeners out there. Tom Brady in 2019, okay? All right? Tom Brady, right now, in 2019, he is going to make this year, says this contract raises his 2019 salary by $8 million to $23 million. So he's making $23 million this year. That's what he's making this year. So the highest paid quarterback in 2019. Now, Tom Brady, again, he's making $23 million. So the highest paid quarterback this year, let's see here, is Russell Wilson. All right. So Russell Wilson this year, how much is he making this year? And it says NFL quarterbacks. The article is called NFL's highest paid players. Russell Wilson on top at $79 million. It says blockbuster contract extensions are pouring in as the NFL gets ready to kick off its 100th season Thursday night. Ezekiel Elliott and Jared Goff signed contract extensions worth more than $220 million combined, with all-pro wide receiver Julio Jones is inching closer to a mega deal that is likely to set a record for wide receiver salaries worth close to $20 million a year. But even those stars can't touch Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson, who is the NFL's highest-paid player in 2019 at $79 million, including $9 million off the field. In April, Wilson's 4-year, $140 million contract extension, his average salary is $35 million per year. And Tom Brady is not making $35 million per year, right? So Tom Brady's making $23 and Russell's making $35. So you would think, well, maybe the guy who's winning the most championships is getting the biggest deal. No.
Right.
Because Father Time, Tom Brady, he continues to value winning a championship over being the highest paid.
True. Right.
Now, this is a fun stat. If you look up the highest, you don't have to do it now, Jason, but this is just fun for our listeners. If you look up the highest paid quarterbacks over the past several years, they don't win championships.
Right.
No, I'm looking at a list on here. So from 2018 of like the top 35, Brady's 14th, and everybody else I've never heard of.
It's interesting. Yeah, and it's because they read off some of the other guys that are making more money than Tom Brady on that list.
Okay, so more than Tom, Matt Ryan for the Falcons.
No clue.
How
How many Super Bowls are they winning? Okay, back to you. Keep going.
Okay, so Cam Newton, I know him.
Cam Newton. I'm going to give Cam Newton a little tip here. Cam Newton, I have no athletic ability, but I want to tell you something. Throw the ball. You got to stop trying to run around. Tom Brady has the 3-second rule. Why don't you? Just throw the freaking ball. You could play forever, Cam Newton, if you would just throw the ball. Stop running around. Okay, continue.
Then, of course, number 11, Phillip Rivers from the Chargers.
A fine man for the Chargers. How many Super Bowls has he won? Keep going.
It doesn't say, but...
yeah, because you're not going to find it. Keep going.
Number 10, Eli Manning.
Eli. Now, Eli has won 2 championships, and he's since I've watched football, he seems to have only played well in 2 games. Okay, back to you.
And then number 9 is Ben Roethlisberger. Did I pronounce that right?
Yep, that's the quarterback for the Steelers. He's had a fine career. Okay, who else?
Then we have Russell Wilson was number 8 last year.
Okay, keep going.
And then we got Aaron Rodgers, number 7. Number 6, Joe Flacco.
Flacco. Yeah. Again, these are guys who are very good, but they're not at the level of Tom Brady.
No.
But they're making more than Brady.
Yeah, and then skipping ahead, number 1 was Jimmy Garoppolo.
Garoppolo, yeah. That used to be Tom Brady's backup. How much is he making now?
So this was as of 2018. It was $27.5 million.
So real quick, Tom Brady's backup is making more than Tom Brady.
Yep, right.
That's literally the name of this article.
Yeah. Tom Brady's backup is making more than Tom Brady. Put links all over the place on the show notes. This is good for the listeners. So what I want to do is I want to make this very practical. All right, we've talked about Tom Brady, his ocean, which is football.
Right.
We've talked about Elon Musk, his ocean, which is business and tech startups. Now let's talk about your ocean. So I want the listeners to get out a piece of paper. I don't want to use paper. I want to use my smartphone. Be careful, because that smartphone makes you dumb. Because you get 11 hours per day spent on there. And you say, Clay, the smartphone is a good tool. Yeah, 10% of the time. Clay, nudity is a good thing between a man and a woman. Yeah, well, what percentage of nudity out there is spent between a man and a woman right now? I just with a husband and a wife. Think about that. What percentage of okay, so we get into smartphones, and we think about this for a second. So the smartphone, let's put it down for a second. Let's take notes on a piece of paper, because we want to put it up where we can see it. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Where there's no vision, the people perish. Let's put it on a tablet so we can see it. Let's put it somewhere. And we want to write down our goals for our faith. What are our goals for our faith? I'm waiting for you to write down your goals today. I'm waiting today. Okay, now, what are your goals for your family? I'm waiting. Now, Clay, we need to move on. I'm getting bored. This is about you. Write down your goals for your faith. But Clavis, I'm driving. Pull over. Pull over. Pull over. It's okay. You can pull over. Faith, what are your faith goals? What are your goals for your faith? I don't want to do this. I don't like that. I'm going to turn the show off. I'm going to turn your show off right now. I'll stop. Okay, fine. Write down your goals for your faith. Now, these are my goals for my faith. I'm telling you my goals for my faith. I want my kids to know and love the Lord so that they won't depart from him when they're older. I want them to have those values. I don't want to put my values on my kids. Okay, fine. I want my kids to discover their own path, which is why they're both addicted to pot. Uh-oh. So figure out your faith goals, all right? Family goals. I want to be married to one wife my entire life. She is my goal. What? Yeah, that's why, this is how the house that I think we're building right now is interesting. So my wife right now is designing the house, and she's going over the plans. And there's this rotunda, this nice, circular room, the rotunda that looks out over the pool, and the house designed. It's got the little wine cellar room and the little. I got nothing on that. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not really involved because it's gonna be her house. We've lived below our means forever, and she would like to design something that she likes. That's fine. Happy wife, happy life. It sticks within our budget. All is well. All I'm saying is I'm not going to sit there and argue with my wife about what kind of flooring she wants.
Right.
Because my goal is to make her happy. Do you see the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Jason, I have a black toilet in the man cave. You've seen that black toilet, haven't you?
I have.
Why is it black?
Because you want it to be.
Right. Why do I have my own bathroom?
Because you don't like to share a bathroom with other people.
Anybody.
Yeah.
So my wife's goal is for me to be happy. I would like for her to be happy. So we don't sit there and fight over some couples. I see couples. I have met couples. As the Lord is my witness, I have met a couple just in the last 4 or 5 months. Because a lot of times I work with couples in our coaching. I'm coaching a business owner, and sometimes the couple owns it together. And they are fighting. I walk in the meeting. They're still fighting over, I guess one of them keeps the bathroom cluttered. And so there's towels and, I don't know, towels, and there's a toothbrush, or there's, deodorant, or whatever is going on. There's dirty clothes all over the room. Mm-hmm. And these couples are fighting still over. So I realized very quickly in our marriage, I cannot share space with people. I can share conversations, and I can share. Our living room is my wife's dominion. I have no input there. I don't even go into my kids' rooms. I don't think the listeners know. I don't ever go in there because it's not my world.
Right.
So again, what are your goals for your faith and your family? Now let's talk about your goal. How many kids do you want to have? Breck, how many kids do you have?
I have 3.
Do you want to have any more kids?
Potentially. I don't think biologically, but yeah, maybe down the road.
You're saying
do you have the ability?
I'm up for fostering and adopting.
Do you have the ability to create kids yourself? Are you like an amoeba where you can self-duplicate?
No.
No?
No.
So you have to have somebody else participating?
Yeah, my wife definitely needs to be a participant.
Does she want to have more kids?
No.
Shunda. I think if we're out there, though, it's so important we know how many kids we want to have, especially if you're not married yet or you're married without kids.
Mm-hmm.
Breck, why is it important for someone to sit down and define how many kids they want to have?
Well, I think, if you're married, it needs to be something that you guys agree upon. One of you doesn't, it's not going to work out so well if one of you wants 8 kids and the other one doesn't want children at all. I actually had a couple that I treated years ago where he had lied to his would-be fiance and told her that he wanted children when he knew in his heart he never wanted to have children. And they didn't stay together.
And I see this
it's
only every time.
Yeah.
There's exceptions. I'm serious, though, because people won't talk about these goals because we're on Pinterest or we're watching The Voice tonight.
Right.
We're too busy going out to eat. We're trying to figure out, Jason, I'm trying to get DoorDash to deliver me Olive Garden. I don't have time right now to think about my family goals.
What are you talking about? You just cleared up 45 minutes if they're bringing you stuff.
Now, finances. Let's talk about your finances. People like to put a lot of pressure on your finances. So people like to say, can I borrow money? Can you help me out on this? I have to buy a car right now. Could you help me with the down payment? Could you help me with my house? If you have money, everyone says, I would like a little pay raise. Every employee wants to get paid a little more, and the customer always wants to pay a little bit less.
Right. I've noticed that. Yeah.
The customers want to pay just a little bit less, and the employee just wants to make a little more. But very few people are going, hey, boss, can you pay yourself a little more, boss? I was thinking about it over the weekend. And I was going, boss, I think you should pay yourself more. I have never had an employee do that. Also, as a general rule, as not always, but I would say 99.78342% of the time, almost all the time, nobody ever says, good job, boss. Now, I recall doing payroll this week. I recall my wife doing payroll. I recall getting the checks on time. But no one ever calls me and says, thank you.
Right.
Now, again, because they're working, They are exchanging their time for money. They're solving problems for our customers. I pay them. But I don't get a lot of employees. I had one young lady for the elephant in the room just did this, and I appreciate her, by the way. She came up to me in our Friday meeting, and she said, I want you to know I am now making more money than I've ever made in my life, and I can now afford my utilities and my car and my gas. I've worked in the hair industry for years, and for the first time in my life, I have money in the bank, and it's you I have to thank. So I just want to tell you, and I'm going, oh, there are people who are appreciative. Yes. Yeah, but and man,
and it only took you what, like 15 years to get?
I mean, you get like one every 3 years or every 2 years. But again, so I'm just your finances. You got to figure out your goal. Now, what happens, Breck, when you know your financial goals and you hit them? Like if you've hit your financial goals, what do you think happens to me?
I've hit some. I've got other goals that I want to accomplish.
What do you think's happening to me?
For you?
For me personally.
When I hit my goals? I think that's a win for you.
It is a win for me.
So I think you thoroughly enjoy it when I succeed.
That's
and when
winning for me.
When I reach my goals.
Now, here's what's crazy. Crazy town. We're going to crazy town. Is recently a lot of people in the ministry space have been reaching out to me.
Yes.
And telling me I need to get involved in ministry. Now, let me explain this to you, why I don't get into ministry. I curse too much. I don't feel called to do it.
Right.
I am annoyed when people ask for help and then don't do anything with it. I'm annoyed with people that are like, could you pray for me? I'm looking for a job. I'm like, how many jobs have you applied for? Well, I haven't yet. I'm just trying to wait for that perfect job. Could you pray for me? I'm trying to buy a house. Have you looked at houses? No, but I just am annoyed with the idea of, I think you have to do in the natural what you can do, and then the supernatural, let God do what he's supposed to do. But don't sit there and pray for, God, I want you to give me a staff. And all of a sudden, no, it magically appears. You got to do what you can. I get annoyed with the idea. But a lot of people are saying, you should go with me to the Amazon. I'm going, what? You need to go with me to Brazil. A lot of people right now.
A lot of business coaches in the jungle that need your help.
There's at least 5 people I can think of right now who are telling me almost every week I need to go to Brazil or Argentina or Israel to do missions with them.
Right.
And I'm going, I don't want to do missions. Why? Do you understand, Mr. Listener, that I barely acknowledge the presence of other countries? Like I have a map and I'm like, the U.S. of A. And you're like, what about the rest of the world? I've never had that thought. The Michael Jackson song is like, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. In my mind, I hear it. Heal America, make it a better place for you and for me and the American race. There are people in America dying, but I don't think about the whole. I don't care. The Olympics to me are dumb. I hate the Olympics. I cannot stand the Olympics. Why? Because I don't care I don't care. I'm so tired of America's going to compete this year versus the Soviet Union, but the Americans, should we compete versus a communist country? Now that's America versus Russia, and is Putin treating his athletes ethically? No, because he's an idiot. Should North Korea be allowed to compete in the Olympics? No, because they have a supreme dictator who's a freaking idiot. Should China be allowed to compete? Shocking that China bulldozed people's homes to build this Olympic stadium, the Olympic Village. Are you kidding me? Do you understand what it is to be in a communist country? You can't own land. You're told how many kids you can have. Forever it was 1, which meant you can't have an uncle or an aunt. There's just 1 child. And what happens with the other kid? I know this because I have multiple friends who've adopted babies from China. Let me tell you what they do in China if you have a second kid. This is a true story. You give birth to a second kid, which is a violation of the code. And if you do make it to give birth, they make you take your baby and set it on the side of the road to die. That's why if you're driving in China down the road, you will see dead babies on the side of the road in China. And you say, well, I just want to give a little more power to the government because our country's not doing well. So let's do a little more universal health care and let's deprivatize things. Let's do a little more universal free college. Let's be more like France. Let's be a little bit more like North Korea. Let's be a little bit more like Argentina. Okay, so you want to give up your responsibility for a little convenience. You want to advocate socialism and communism. I get it. Okay. So what we're talking about, again, is your financial goals. Everybody puts goals on you. People say you should speak at colleges. I don't want to speak at colleges. Because listen, if you're on a college campus right now and you're not there to get a specific skill, you got to drop out.
I was going to say the establishment doesn't want you to speak at colleges.
Oh, my gosh. I spoke there so many times, and every time it was always caustic. Because the student would put their hand up and go, I'm a junior, I'm studying business, and I want to know, what are your beliefs on the responsibility of business owners to give back and to fight climate change? I'm like, okay, do we want a real answer? Yes, okay. Well, I want you to look up hydrocarbons, Mr. Student. Look it up. They're like, what? Just look it up. Look how many hydrocarbons, look how many pollutants go into the air when a volcano explodes. I would like for you to look that up, please. Please look up, like when Mount St. Helen blew up, please look up the soot reached Seattle. Look it up. See how much pollutants go into the air every time a volcano combusts. Look that up, please. And then explain to me, should we ban volcanoes or ban cars? And they're like, what? I'm like, do you understand? We'd have to keep all of them. The whole world would have to have their cars on constantly to produce the same amount of pollutants that we produce when a volcano blows up. Like, it would take a century of cars to make up for one volcano explosion. Should we ban volcanoes? What? And then I get into this whole. It was dumb. I never have these thoughts. Or I remember one student put their hand up. They won an award for the best business plan, and it was for solar panels.
Right.
And I'm like, can I explain something to you? And they go, yeah. Do you understand that if we covered the entire state of Oklahoma with solar panels, we would not produce enough power needed to produce the energy for Chicago? And they're like, what? I'm like, look it up. If you put a solar panel on your house, do you understand it won't pay for itself for like 20 years?
Well, and the cost and energy to go into producing those solar panels, it's not even going to pay for itself.
But it's taught as a fact that you have to do solar panels. And anyway, I can't even go on a campus. I can't go there.
Right.
But people want me to. They ask me, you should come teach entrepreneurship.
Well, and Friday's program that aired on Friday was about the MBA, or a portion of it was about MBAs. And, whether to hire, whether to get, and yeah.
Elon Musk is not a fan of MBAs, nor is Peter Thiel, nor is Dr. Zellner, nor am I.
Right.
So again, you say, what are your goals for your finances? The problem right now, too, is financially I've hit my goals a long time ago, and people keep telling me I have to do things. It's like, well, Clay, do you understand that if you would expand like 1,000 clients, then you could make more money? I don't want 1,000 clients. I want 160 of you, and that's it. Jason, you see me do onboardings. What kind of people are a good fit for our program, and who's not?
People who understand. Well, one, people who are coachable. People who are willing to grow.
Yes.
I've noticed there's like a certain look that you give when you're doing the onboarding, and you say, okay, well, initial homework before we set this whole thing up is I want you to look at this, I want you to look at this, and I want you to do these 3 things. And the people who are like, okay, got it, write it down, print it off.
Good.
I will do that by the next time we talk. And you're like, that's great. But the people who are like, well, I think I can do that, or I can try to commit to that, or, I'll ponder it.
I could try to commit to that, but I don't know. I might have to watch the kids in the morning.
Yeah.
Get up earlier. I can't stand 45-year-old men that tell me they can't get their action items done because they have to spend time with their kids. Wake up at 3. Go to bed at 9. Wake up at 3. Get your 6 hours of work before they wake up. Quit making excuses. Stop it. So, faith, family, finances. But you've got to figure out your financial goals. Jason, do I like traveling?
No.
It turns out, though, I get people all the time who fill out the assessment form and say, could you come travel to New York? We would hire you if you'd come to New York.
Right.
No. Your conference could be bigger if you moved to Dallas. No, I don't want to move to Dallas. Why? Because I want to be able to have a small enough of a group where we can do what?
Coach 160 people.
And answer all the questions.
Right.
Right.
Know their names.
Breck, how would our conference change if we had 1,000 people?
It wouldn't be the same at all. It really, you can literally raise your hand in the crowd and you stop and call on that person to, answer their question.
But if it was bigger, how would it change?
It feels very intimate. It feels very connected. If it was bigger, you'd just be a number lost in the crowd. It would lose its energy. It would lose the vibe.
It would. It would be totally different.
It would be different.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk in generalities and get people excited and then walk on hot calls and woo. I don't want to do that. I want to help you get your answers to your practical questions. But your finances, listen, Mr. Listener, listen to this. Miss Listener, write this down. Somebody needs to write that down. How much money do you want to make per year? And don't let me or you or don't let Don't let yourself be impacted by anybody else except for you with that number. Because the world says you should always make what?
More.
Right. Because you need a newer
Everything.
Car,
house,
new car.
spouse.
So many people tell me all the time, they say, Clay, your Hummer, man, that thing's got like 210,000 miles on it, dude. That thing, I was behind it the other day in traffic. It can barely accelerate anymore. And I'm going, don't you talk about Betsy. Don't you, the Hummer of love. Let me tell you, I'm not putting that thing out to pasture. They said, you should get a Porsche. You should get a nice car. I don't want to. Why? Because I like it. I was looking for different vehicles, because it's getting near the end there. I think I'm just going to buy another H2.
You should.
I think I'm going to because it's my move.
The box truck's out?
Yeah, it's either that or the original H1.
Yeah.
The problem is my wife wants me to have enough room, oddly enough, for our kids to fit inside the vehicle. And I was like, we could put them in the back of the box, and just rolling around back there, moving around.
We could pat it. Yeah.
That's right. It's like a bag of cats back there, just moving around. So, but again, finances. Everybody says I need a bigger house. People are always underwhelmed by my house. Every house I've ever had.
They haven't been in your backyard. It's really. I mean, it does look smaller from the front than from the back. But yeah, you've created an amazing oasis here.
People though, I've always had a house we lived in a couple houses behind gates. And they come over, and they're always expecting to find the biggest house in the neighborhood. And they pull in, and they're like, oh, wow, it's a 4,000 square foot house. Or it's nice, but they're like, I thought it would be more bougie. I thought it would be more paintings of yourself. I thought you would have more leather. Well, I remember one client had leather floors in their house.
All right.
Leather floors.
What in the world?
No, listen to the true story. Leather floors, huge aquarium. The most opulent decor. It's beautiful.
I'm sure.
Pristine, magnificent. Like our backyard's pool, but twice. And this is what she said to me in a meeting. She says, is it possible I could go down to the scholarship this month? Because I'm at my limit, and I don't have enough money to make my mortgage this month.
Wow.
And it's a true story. And so I'm going, what? And you know why she has all that stuff? You know why, Jason?
What?
Because people told her she needed.
Because she's buying stuff she doesn't need and impress people she doesn't know.
Exactly.
Those people who aren't actually looking and care.
There it is.
But they might.
So you gotta figure out your financial goals. The goal should not be the acquisition of stuff. It should be financial peace.
Right.
To de-stress. So you don't have to work every hour of the day just to make it. Okay? You don't want to feel like you're being chased by a lion at every second of the day. Now, fitness goals. Breck.
Yes.
Fitness goals.
I don't know why you always come to me when it comes to fitness.
Because you're a fitness guy.
And have you seen your own biceps? Get out of here.
So fitness goals, though. Again, I want to encourage the listeners out there. We want to get in good physical shape. But have you met people who are at the spectrum where they're already jacked? You clearly see this guy or gal is jacked.
Right.
But yet it's not good enough in their minds. Have you seen this?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Especially with a lot of women.
Men and women.
You see men and women?
Yeah. Well, because I think, there's a time years ago where like body image issues were primarily women, but I think those days are more and more behind us. I think more and more men are having body image issues. Yeah.
See, a lot of dudes, like back when I was going to Planet Fitness, there's a guy, and he was always throwing up, like he would curl like 55-pound dumbbells just like they were nothing.
Shunda.
I'm like, wow, that's impressive. And I was a scrawny dude back then, so I'm like, how long did it take you to get to where you are? He's like, I do this every day. I'm like, you do it every day? He's like, yeah. I was like, aren't you afraid you're going to hurt yourself? He's like, I can't be big enough. Every time I look in the mirror, I'm smaller. I got to be bigger.
Enough.
Now, again, if that's what you do, if that's what your pool is and you're a fish, if that's your water and you're a fish, that's your ocean and you're a fish, fine.
Right.
But make sure it's your own goal.
Yeah. Right.
You
got to own it.
Don't get into the comparison and the jealousy of comparison of where it's never good enough. Because it really is.
One goal can override the others. I mean, you may want to be married to that one wife for life, and yet you spend all your time at the gym for your fitness goals, and you've undermined another one of your goals.
Now we get into friendship goals. This is big. It's so important you write down your goals for your friendship. Because if you don't, this is what happens to me a lot. When you're successful, before I was successful, when I was building the DJ business, I always was trying to network with anybody I possibly could, trying to learn as much as I could. I was selling, trying to get a yes, I was asking everybody, hey, do you know if someone's getting married soon? Yes. Would they like to hire me? Are you getting married? Are you planning a party? I would ask everybody. Are you looking to get married soon? Are you know somebody who is? Are you every chamber event, every networking opportunity? I was always networking, trying to find a new lead. Everybody was a lead.
One of your gifts is the hustle.
The hustle.
You embrace the grind, and you are a hustler.
So that was what I did for a long time. Though, was like try to chase a lead. But then at a certain point, I realized I can't make any more time, but I can make more money. So now I've had to say no to grow. It's flipped. So now people are like, do you want to go out to dinner? No. Do you want to come over? No. Do you want to go out to eat? No. Well, why? Because I really don't have a whole lot of friends, and the friends I do have, I want to spend time with. It's like I want to spend time with Dr. Zellner, and I'm not like, Dr. Zellner, let's go on a date tonight again. It's not that. It's more of I just want to see him a couple hours every week, a couple hours, just stay in touch. I want to see my wife, turns out 3 hours every day. I want to see my kids, but if you have I want to have friendships with the people I value. I don't want to just be out there, just kind of an acquaintance of the world, because that can happen by default. Can it, Rick?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Where nobody actually knows you, there's no intimacy at all. It's all at arm's distance, and I think that's another reason why so many people feel depressed and they're unknown to everybody. Nobody actually knows who they are on the inside. They're just what they've put out there as an image of who they might be.
So you've got to write down right now what friendships do you want to have, because your network is your net worth. Your network determines your normal. So let me give you an example. If you hang around people, I want all the listeners to write this down. Think about this. Who like an owl? Who do you spend your time with? Think about this. If you hang out with people that are all really into fitness, you'll probably find yourself getting into fitness. If you're around a bunch of people who are very wealthy, you'll probably find yourself over time becoming very wealthy. If you're around an entrepreneur who's successful, you'll probably become a successful entrepreneur. Now, if you are just through osmosis, because it's hard to be friends with somebody who you are doing totally different worldviews and values, then it's hard because you have anything in common to bring you back together. Now, if you are around people who have criminal, frequent run-ins with the law, for... No, I'm not talking about speeding tickets. I'm talking about drug issues. People who are constantly having problems with beating their spouse. That's a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Why is it dangerous, Jason, if you hang around with a guy who has domestic violence issues?
Because then domestic violence will start to become like your new normal.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Because it corrupts morals. This is a big idea from Proverbs. It talks about this, and I'm going to look up the verse real quick for the listeners so I can. It says, let's go with 1 Corinthians first. 1 Corinthians 15:33. It says, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character." 1 Corinthians 15:33. So Jason, put that on the show notes. 1 Corinthians 15:33. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Breck, have you ever seen this happen before?
Yes.
What happens when you hang around corrupt people?
You become like them.
Yeah. How?
Well, like you're saying, I mean, it becomes your normal. There's some certain aspect of desensitization.
Desensitizing. Yes.
They start to desensitize you to that negative behavior, and the next thing you know, it's kind of your norm. So, an example from my own life.
Yeah.
When I was junior high, some people were making fun of somebody, and I joined in, knowing it was wrong. But I joined in because that was who I wanted to impress. And, the person that I didn't realize it in the moment, but the person I made fun of was actually somebody I care very much about. And so I felt like lower than low, like I was below an ant's knees. And so, I learned.
But you learned
I learned
from
hard. That was a hard lesson, but I learned.
Nope.
And I've seen it with my own kids, friend groups. Who you hang out with is who you
starts to affect your talk.
Yeah, starts to become who you are. The attitude that you carry.
If you're around a lot of kids that don't like their parents, that are disrespectful of their parents, it's easy to become disrespectful of your parents.
Right.
Now, Proverbs 13:20 writes, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." Again, Proverbs 13:20. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. This walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Yeah, see, I'm getting it stuck in your head right there. You see, it's your neural pathway. You see, I'm Proverbs 13:20. If I say it enough, it gets stuck in your mind. Walk with the wise. You see, I just made you say that. See, walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. You see how that works? So I want to make sure we're getting this idea, because this right here is an idea that's terrible. Years ago, I was running the DJ business, and one employee came to work and showed naked photos of his wife to our entire team. And I'm not aware of this, right? I'm not aware. And one of the employees pulls me aside and was like, dude, we got a problem here. I go, what's the problem? He's like, this dude just showed naked photos of his wife to a lot of guys. And I'm going, he did? So I confront the guy. Did you do it? No, I didn't. I go to the two guys. Did he show it to you? No, he didn't. Okay. So I found, anyway, long story short, I talked to the guy. This is about 6 months later, because I couldn't prove it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, just hearsay kind of thing.
Right.
There was a kind of a weird thing going on. So I finally confront the guy. He had at this point an adult beverage. And I'd said, hey, did you show photos of your wife? He goes, yeah, that's how I got her to marry me. I took naked photos of her when we were in high school. And so she was a freshman in college. And I told her if she ever broke up with me, I'd put them all over the internet. And she's a pastor's daughter, and that's how we're married.
Wow.
That's a terrible move.
True story. Guy's still married, by the way. And I said,
wow.
And they hate each other. And I'm like, no, it's a true story. I'm like, so wait a minute. You actually took naked photos of a freshman in college, and then you said that if you break up with me, I'm going to put them on the internet. He goes, exactly. And I'm like, so that's how you got married? He goes, exactly. Now, that guy does that kind of thing all the time. Like, he has, I've seen him hire migrant workers that aren't legal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as I'm watching from a distance, now I don't hang around the person, but he'll hire migrant workers and then not pay them. And then they'll say, I need to get paid. And he'll say, well, I'll have you deported.
Right. There's no legal recourse.
So I'll agree to pay you half of what we promised so that you won't get deported. How about that, buddy? And this is what he does. Now, he is a guy who's had success. Emphasis on the suck, then the success. He's had success by his terms. Right. And I know people in Tulsa. What I'm thinking of it now is people in Tulsa have recently discovered his games, and they know that he was in association with me many moons ago. And so they're going, are you aware that this man is married to a quote-unquote trophy wife? As a result, he's married to like a model, a trophy wife, as a result of holding naked photos over her. I'm going, oh yeah. Are you aware that he's able to get things done on time and on budget because he doesn't pay migrant workers? Oh yeah. Are you aware of his drug issues? Oh yeah. Are you aware of the cocaine? Oh yeah. Are you aware of the prostitution? Oh yeah. And you think, how did he get that far? Well, if you look who he's around,
right.
Holy crap, he's around some bad people.
What you sow, you reap.
So the moment that I confirmed I knew what he was doing, what do you think I had to do, Breck? The moment that I
cut him loose.
Had to let him go.
Yeah. He can't be in your inner circle anymore.
Had to let him go. And he and other people have since tried to make it right with us, and hey, you guys should meet. I'm like, I'm not meeting with that guy. No. I was out somewhere. I somehow ran into the guy, and he was like, "Hey, we need to talk. I just want you to know, man, I've a changed person. I've totally changed. This is like 5 years ago. Totally changed. I want to make it right." And that was like 5 years. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna talk to you. And just recently, I found he's doing it again. The same stuff. I mean, I'm just telling you, that right there is success. That's what the world. A lot of times, the world says, by any means necessary, do what you have to do to financially get ahead. That's what. Do you not agree that that's the universal anthem in our world right now?
Yeah.
Do whatever it takes to make money.
That's very true.
Do you not agree with this?
I agree that everybody believes that. Yes.
I was on a conference call the other day with this would be maybe the other day, but it's like a year and a half ago, I guess. I was on the conference call with a guy, and weird. And he is not a client of mine. Just for full disclosure, not a client of mine. It was a vendor. Okay, a vendor. And in the background, you could hear his wife kind of yelling at him or something. And I said, "What you okay? Do you want to reschedule? It's
Bad
okay."
time?
And he says, "Well, I married a 7, and I'm letting her talk to me like she's a 10."
Wow. And
I'm going, "What?" And he goes, "Well, you understand, she's 20 years younger than me. Okay, the only reason I married her is because she was a trophy wife." And I'm serious. And I'm going, what? But it just comes. It's tip of tongue. It's right off the top of his mind. He just said, his retort was, "Man, I married a 7. I let her talk to me like she's a 10." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "She's not that hot. I mean, she has kind of smaller teeth." Seriously. And he's having that thought.
Right.
And I've met her. She's a very beautiful person. But there's people out there that view success as they'll do whatever they have to do to make money. Completely void of values or morals.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And if you have that mindset, you're going to pay for your... Have you heard about celebrities buying their kids degrees? Have you heard about this?
Oh, yeah. It's a big deal.
Oh, yeah. You're going to buy your kids a degree. If all you want is...
now.
Right. But you could see why you would do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a high school coach and your goal is to win by any means necessary, you could see where you might be paying your players and breaking the laws. You could see why, if your goal is to have sexual pleasure at all costs, you could see why you would hire prostitutes. You could see why, if your goal is to always be in a euphoric situation, why you might constantly gamble. You could see where, if you don't have your goals defined, you're not going to have success. Now, Craig Groeschel, the pastor of Life Church, the largest church in America, writes, you must say no to grow. You must say no to grow. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give the listeners some hard statistics. And Jason, you can grab them off of the show notes here. That this would have been the 1129 show notes. I'm not sure when the show comes out, but if you can grab it off the 1129 show notes. Yeah. Here are the statistics I will read in the following order. Here we go. Harsh reality check. Wow. 50% of first marriages in America don't work. 67% of the second don't work. 73% of the third marriages don't work, according to Psychology Today. 78% of men have had an affair on their current partner, according to the Washington Post. 78% of men. 75% of employees steal from the workplace. 75%. 9 out of 10 small businesses fail. 85% of employees steal. Check this out. 85% of employees lie on their resumes, according to Inc. 85% lie on their resumes, and 75% steal from the workplace.
Right.
So, Breck, if you're in a room with 100 people and 85 of them are, lying on their resumes, or 75 of the 100 people are stealing,
right?
Do you want to hang out with them?
I don't. No.
If you know that 78% of men are out there having affairs on their wife, do you want to get marriage tips from 78% of people?
No.
If 9 out of 10 business owners are failing, do you want to get advice from almost anybody about how to run a company?
No.
So I just encourage you, as action items from today's show. 1, figure out the ocean in which you can be a fish.
Right.
Don't feel bad if you can't climb a tree and you're a fish. Figure out your ocean. Put this on the show notes. I want these action steps in here. I want to make sure that action item number 1, find your ocean where you can be a fish. Define your F6 goals today. Now, here's the hard part. The hard part, like a very trendy haircut. Here's the hard part. I encourage you right now to write down what you have to say no to today. Today. What is the thing you have to say? What's the thing for your family? What do you have to say no to have those family goals happen? What do you have to say no to have those faith goals happen? Faith, family. Finances. What do you have to say no to make those financial goals happen? Faith, family, finances, fitness. What do you have to say no to hit those goals? Faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship. Who do you have to stop hanging out with who's corrupting your morals? And who do you need to start hanging out with? Faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, and fun. Fun goals, yeah. What are some things? When is it time to stop working and to go have fun? When is it time to go hang out with your kids by the pool? When is it time to work so you can afford a pool? That's the great challenge. And I just encourage you today. I want to leave Dr. Breck opportunity here to kind of give us capstone thought. But this show is designed to be reparative. It's designed to not be punitive. I'm not trying to punish you or yell at you or judge you. Or I'm trying to coach you up. Teach you, and it might be harsh. It might go, man, they have some harsh examples, man. That's whoo. You're hanging around some crazy people. Well, let me tell you, when you allow thousands of people per year to come to a conference, when you have hundreds of employees and hundreds of clients, when you open your world up to that, you're going to see corruption. Right. You're gonna see it, and I have seen. I've like lived 1,000 careers because I have coached so many clients, so I've seen it. But Breck, what advice would you have for someone today that maybe hasn't been able to find their ocean yet? They're kind of, they're a fish and they found themselves trying to climb a tree, and maybe they're 35.
Well, I mean, there's a number of things. One of the things I was going to say is it's easy for me in my position to look at guys like Elon Musk and Tom Brady and to say they don't have to say no to things. But yet I know through, some of what I've been exposed to that they both say no to certain things. And so, we were talking about Tom Brady and how his appearance has changed. I know that there are a lot of food items that he doesn't eat. I know that there is a regimen that he keeps, and there's time that he spends in the gym and things that he has to say no to in order to keep those commitments. So no matter what level you're at, you still have to say no. So Craig Rochelle's words are true. I know they're true for himself. I know they're true for me and for everybody else listening. But if you find that you are a fish out of water trying to climb a tree, take that pause. Go through these F6 goals.
Yep.
Figure out who you are, who you want to be, and what matters most to you. And then you start eliminating those things that are not in direct connection to getting you where you want to go.
So true.
You can really end up in the wrong place and go much further away from your goals than you ever realized if you're not actually keeping score, paying attention, knowing what the destination is. Enjoy the journey, but you still got to be pointed in the right direction.
Now, Jason, I would like to ask you this because you've coached some clients and helped them to have some success.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for a client out there right now that's saying they're struggling to find time to achieve their financial goals, or they're struggling to find time to automate their savings? Because you've actually gone through the evolution yourself. Mm-hmm. Are you there yet? No. Am I there yet? No. But you're down that path. You've gone through a huge transformation in the past 3 years, with your health, with your finances, a lot of stuff. Give somebody out there some practical advice, or maybe share what you've done, because you're a really different dude now.
Yeah. So take it from me. I slipped up in my growth path last week. I was talking to John about how everybody in the office is into football, and I've never really watched sports other than MMA. And I told him, I just don't have the time to watch. He goes, no, you don't make the time. And I thought that's super important, because had I not heard that, I wouldn't have identified that problem. But that's one of the biggest things I run into when somebody says, Jason, I don't have the time to sit down and look at automating my savings, or I don't have time to do something fun. Make time. I have recently found that I have a ton of time Friday and Saturday to allocate to my marriage and making it better. So what I do is Fridays from 5 until 9. That's all wife time.
This is good.
Nobody gets anything. I don't respond to my phone. We do date night, and then Saturday after we do the onboardings and shadow sessions, it's typically around noon when I'm free.
Yep.
I have the rest of that blocked out for what I'm calling Saturday, which is everything that she wants to do during the week.
You're a man on fire.
Saturday.
And you've been married for how many weeks now?
Going on 4.
I'm so impressed with what you're doing, because you got to pull the weeds. And
you're way ahead of the curve.
I mean, Andrew has been married now for a year, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to see their marriage.
Oh, absolutely.
He's automated his savings. He has a Saturday date scheduled. He's not spending one-on-one time with other women all the time. He's setting good boundaries. You're doing the same thing. It is so exciting, so encouraging to see young men and women out there not living in a tent.
Yeah.
With 3 chicks and a dude smoking pot. It's just exciting to see that. So
could have done that, but it doesn't feel as good as where I'm at right now.
Job well done. And now, without any further ado, we'd like to end each and every show with a boom. And I've discovered with our new studio, these mics are a little bit more sensitive. And so when we boom, we have to kind of pull back. It's like a boom. Mm-hmm. It's like a 3, 2, and we got to back up. It's 3, 2, 1, and we got to back up before we boom, because if you boom when you're too close, it peaks. And we can't be peaking.
I don't want to blow anybody's
because then I got to ask Greg to come in here and fix it again, and then he's going to say, I can fix it, but this is a new system, and you got to back further away. So who am I to pop the listeners' ears again? So here we go. Without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom!
Attend the world's best business workshop led by America's #1 business coach for free by subscribing on iTunes and leaving us an objective review. Claim your tickets by emailing us proof that you did it and your contact information to info@thrivetimeshow.com.